into the lower 60s. All right, there's your latest forecast. Evie, we'll send things over to you.
Thanks, Matt. Well, small business owner and columnist Gene Marks says a huge liability is coming for merchants in 2015, dun dun dun, and it will affect not only buyers but sellers too. Gene's joining me now to tell us more. Good morning.
Good morning, Eve.
So this is a very interesting article you just wrote for Forbes.com, and you start out by telling us you're changing up how you're buying your morning coffee. As someone who needs coffee, I hope you're still getting it.
Well, no, first of all, I recently wrote a piece at the Huffington Post about getting morning coffee and how it's all about time management. So I appreciate you bringing attention to that piece. But this is more of an article about, this Forbes piece is more about merchants and using credit cards. And the whole gist of it, Eve, is that soon, like right now, I don't know if you have or not, but all of us are going to be getting new credit cards in the next few weeks. Yeah. And those credit cards are going to have a chip on it, right? So this chip, I actually have an example of like what it looks like. It's like a card that looks like this, if you can zoom in on it or not. And there's like a little chip there that goes on the very front of it. You'll see it on all of your cards. This is an example card from American Express. I didn't want to bring my American Express card in.
Everybody would be shopping.
Yeah, I'm afraid like Hasiel will be reading the number and then buying stuff and using my card.
Right?
So this card is what we're all going to be receiving, and they're secure. So for all consumers like you and I, no big deal. We're going to be getting these cards. We're going to be using them when we go to stores. But for retailers, it's a big change that's coming for them.
Yeah, what does it mean for retailers? It requires some new equipment, right? Some new technology.
It does, and the big deal is that if you're running a small store or any kind of as you're a merchant, in October, here's the deal. If you are unable to accept these cards in your stores, I mean, you don't have the equipment even to accept it, you could be facing a liability. The credit card industry are trying to show some tough love to merchants, because this is has been done in Europe for years, using these cards. They're saying to American merchants now, look, you need to have the equipment to be able to accept these cards, and if you don't accept these cards, then you could be facing a liability for any fraudulent charges that come along. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, so now what do merchants need to be doing now? Just making sure they're up to speed on what they'll need?
So I brought a little example here just to show they need to make sure that they have a point-of-sale device that accepts these cards. So the key thing is that these cards is not a different thing. Now, we're used to swiping the card. You take the card and you kind of swipe it through, and that's what we're used to doing. Now a merchant has to have a device that allows you to dip the card in. Let me see if I can, here we go. So you got to dip it underneath.
Good Vanna White skills.
Yeah, right? Nice. And then you're going to hold on to it for a little bit, and then you pull it out, and it's a much more secure transaction. Now, these things cost about $100 to $200. I promised American Express, because they gave me this equipment, they're offering a deal for their merchants. They can get a $100 reward card if they're an American Express merchant.
It's a little peak incentive there.
Yeah, so it goes towards the price of buying these new equipment. But if you're a merchant, you got to have it. You got to have this equipment in your store, because you and I are going to be going in and expecting to use these cards, and you got to make sure that you can accept it.
Now, what's the buzz amongst business owners? Are they excited that transactions should hopefully be safer, or are they annoyed that they have to get this equipment?
Annoyed,
right?
Because I mean, they're being asked. I mean, it's very nice for companies like American Express to offer a $100 reward. That's great and all that, but they still have to spend some money to do this, and so they're not really thrilled about doing that. Having said that, the smarter business owners that I meet, Eve, kind of look at it as a good selling opportunity. It's more secure. 80% of credit card transactions that are using these cards, when fraud occurs, 80% is because people steal the data off these magnetic strips. That's not the case when you have the chip on the card. So if you're a merchant, you're providing a more secure service to your customers. That's a much better thing. So if you're looking ahead and you want to do well for your customers, you should be making sure that you're adapting to this.
Hopefully some good news in the long run. We just have to get through this transition.
Agreed. And again, they've been doing this in Europe for years. It's proven to cut down on fraud, so we got to get with it here in this country.
All right, Gene, thanks for bringing us up to speed. Again, you can read Gene's articles in Forbes, Huffington Post, everywhere, or on his website for all the links, genemarks.com. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
After a long, cold winter, this is what we've been waiting for. Time to come out of hibernation and hit the road during Ciocca Subaru's Let's Get Rolling event. Choose from our biggest all-wheel drive selection ever and lease a redesigned Legacy for only $185 a month, or own it for $21,591. Or choose a versatile Forester, available to lease for $219 a month or own for $23,254. Visit Ciocca today and see how easy it is to get Subaru online and on Route 222 in Allentown.